Based on Hyundai's market research on all the things you'd consider when shopping for a sub 4 meter sedan, looks rank the highest. So that should mean the Aura would be the best looking sedan in this segment, right? Hyundai is aiming high with the Aura, and there's a multitude of engine, transmission and fuel options to appeal to a wide audience. So does it have what it takes to make a big splash? Hyundai's sensuous sportiness design language was quite elegant in the sculpting of the Nios, and the Aura's face is very similar, the only difference being a slightly larger grille with different detailing and the addition of 2 extra DRLs. Accent lines on the side of a car help you guide your eyes down its profile, and as you move down the sides of the Aura, you come across, well, this little speed bump. On the rear, there's this new tail light design, which is a Z-shaped design. Yes, it's a very subjective thing, but it's this C-pillar here that's a different color, which spoils it for me. I see what they were trying to do in reducing the visual mass of the added boot, but it and the tail lights that curve in the opposite direction of the line of the boot lid just spoil it for me. And from the 2 videos we've released, a walk around and a first look, there are 2 clear camps formed on how the Aura looks. And I think you can guess which one I fall in. Some strong opinions then, but one thing is clear, people have noticed the Aura. The designs on the interior of the Aura are just what we've seen in the Nios, but that still means it's class leading both in terms of the design and layout and the quality and feel of all the plastics and the buttons. There are some changes though, so this accent on the dash is now a chocolatey bronze kind of a color. It's on the dash and around the gear lever. There's also a nice all black theme to the interiors of the Turbo Petrol, and that does get some nice red accents to break up all that black. So there's accents on the AC vents, the controls of the AC knobs and the piping on the seats. Wireless charging and cruise control in the top-end Petrol stand out, but you still get all the essentials. 8-inch touchscreen infotainment, Arkamys-tuned audio, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, a cooled glove box and climate control. In the segment, space is a priority, and as you can see with the front seat set to my position, I have plenty of knee room, and because of the way the seat is designed, I can stretch my legs out in front as well, so I have lots of foot room as well. Under thigh support is nice, and there are 2 places where it's lacking. Hyundai could have maybe widened the cabin to give you a little more width. Headroom is compromised because of 2 things. One, the roof line which slopes downwards, and the seat back angle which is now further tilted to the back, which means I'm seated further back and headroom is slightly compromised. I just have about an inch and I'm about 5'10", so taller passengers will have a problem. The angle though does help in comfort, and this is a nice comfortable position which is helped by a drop down armrest. Further keeping things comfortable in the rear is AC vents also, and a charge point. The Desire and the Amaze are a little wider in the cabin, but there's no shortage of space in the rear of the Aura. The boot may divide aesthetic opinions, but on the space front it's right up there with the best in the segment at 405 litres. Only the Amaze and the Tigor offer more area in their boots. Like the Nios, the Aura is also available with a 1.2 litre petrol and a 1.2 litre diesel. Both these engines are BS6 certified now. We're driving the 1.2 diesel. Hyundai are calling it the EcoTORQ engine now. It's based on the same architecture as the previous engine, but the internals have all been revised, and that's also helped with getting the BS6 certification. The diesel and the petrol are only available with 5-speed gearboxes, but you have the option of either a manual or an AMT transmission. Right now we're driving the AMT, and we've spent some time in the city as well with it. It's nicely tuned for the city, so shifts are nice and smooth with very little head nod at city speeds. Of course, being an AMT, if you step on it with the torque that the diesel has, you will get some head nod at higher RPM shifts. One disappointment was the refinement of the diesel engine. The old 1.2 diesel was so smooth and silent that after startup you were sometimes left wondering if it really was a diesel. That's not the case with the new EcoTORQ, which is audible in the cabin and accompanied by some vibes as well. The 1.2 litre petrol is the same as before, so it's nice and refined. Very little engine noise in the cabin, very little vibrations, and pulls really nicely from low revs. So that'll be a nice engine to have in the city. Like the Neos again, the Aura has very nice and friendly drive mannerisms. So the steering is nice and light, the gears shift very assuredly and slot in nicely, but the throws are a little on the long side. So both of these cars make for nice drives around town. And when you get up to highway speeds, there's no problem there as well. The steering does weigh up a little bit, so it's not as light, but you wouldn't call it a very sporty setup. But if you do want something a little sporty, Hyundai has added one more thing to the Aura. And the last engine in the Aura lineup is this, the Turbo Petrol. Yes, the same 1 litre turbo from the Venue, but over here it makes 100 PS of power and it's only available with a 5-speed manual. Yes, it may not be the most sporty or exciting turbo to drive, but it's definitely the pick of the Aura's lineup. There's plenty of torque and it's delivered in a very linear fashion. We're on the highway now, and at 100 km per hour, it's ticking over at just 2000 RPM. And that's just below the sweet spot of the engine. So just a small prod on the accelerator, and you have enough go for a quick overtake. And despite being a turbo with a little more performance on tap, Hyundai is still claiming over 20 km per litre for this engine. The pricing of the Aura drives a hard bargain against its biggest rivals, the Dzire and the Amaze. It's also offering a full range of gearboxes and engine options to choose from. At a time when Maruti has said no to diesel power and Honda is yet to launch their new BS6 engines, the Aura's timing seems spot on. Hyundai are casting a wide net with the Aura, and there's something in that packaging that will appeal to everyone. The nice, refined, smooth petrol for the city, a BS6 certified diesel for the high milers, and the peppy turbo for that responsible adult who wants to have a bit of fun behind the wheel every once in a while. There's nothing really wrong with that package, and yet nothing really stands out either. But in a market which wants just that, the Aura may not cause the biggest ripple, but it definitely has what it takes to stir up the pond.